The morning chaos was a familiar blur for Alara. A splash of hot coffee staining her crisp white shirt, the mocking roar of the bus pulling away just as she reached the stop, the looming tower of paperwork on her desk that seemed to grow overnight. Her life was a frantic race against a clock that always seemed to tick too fast. It was during one particularly desperate lunch break, seeking refuge from the city's relentless pace, that she found herself drawn into a dimly lit antique shop, the air thick with the scent of dust and forgotten stories. There, nestled amongst tarnished silver and faded photographs, was an ornate pocket watch. Its gears turned with a soft, hypnotic whir. The old shopkeeper, his eyes holding the weight of centuries, explained its nature. "It grants time," he rasped, "but it demands a memory in return." Desperation was a powerful motivator. Alara, thinking of the deadline that hung over her like an executioner's axe, made her first, seemingly harmless trade. She offered the memory of what she ate for breakfast. As the thought dissolved into mist, an extra hour materialized on the watch's face. The watch became her secret weapon, the key to unlocking a life she had only dreamed of. At first, the trades were small, insignificant. The melody of a song she heard on the radio, the face of a stranger she passed on the street, the punchline to a coworker's joke. In exchange, she received precious hours that she poured into her work. The results were spectacular. Promotions came quickly, projects were completed ahead of schedule, and the respect of her peers followed. A montage of her ascent would show a life polished to a high shine, a new apartment with a stunning view, designer clothes, celebratory dinners with colleagues. But beneath the glossy surface, a subtle erosion was taking place. She'd stare blankly when a friend mentioned their upcoming birthday, a date she had once known by heart. She'd look through old photo albums, a flicker of confusion clouding her eyes as she saw faces that should have been familiar, but were now just strangers smiling back at her. Her expression, even in her greatest moments of triumph, grew more vacant, a beautiful but empty vessel. The day of the most critical presentation of her career arrived, and disaster struck. A server crash had wiped out hours of her work, and the deadline was immovable, absolute. Panic, cold and sharp, seized her. She was out of time. Her hand trembled as she retrieved the pocket watch. The small memories were gone, spent on trivial victories. She knew what this moment required: a sacrifice, a significant, heartfelt memory to purchase the block of time she so desperately needed. Closing her eyes, she clutched the cool metal and focused her entire being on a single thought, a single feeling. The day my life truly began. The world dissolved into a flash of blinding white light. When her vision cleared, she was standing on a busy street corner, the finished presentation secure on a drive in her purse. A man with warm, kind eyes and a familiar smile approached her. "There you are," he said, his voice a gentle melody. "Ready for our anniversary dinner?" Alara stared at him, her mind a perfect, placid void. There was no flicker of recognition, no echo of a shared past. Her face was a blank canvas, devoid of the history they had written together. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice polite but distant. "Do I know you?" The smile on the man's face faltered, crumbling into an expression of pure, unadulterated heartbreak. The final scene settles on Alara, standing alone in her magnificent, sterile apartment. Awards and trophies gleamed on the shelves, testaments to her relentless ambition. She glanced down at the pocket watch in her hand, its ticking a hollow echo in the silence. Her gaze lifted to her own reflection in the dark window. As a single, unbidden tear traced a path down her cheek, a dawning, soul-crushing horror filled her eyes. She had everything she ever wanted. She was a success. And she was completely, utterly alone, having erased the very person who had given her life its meaning.